Continuing our series on formed wood parts, this video will demonstrate bending to a single form, and then cleaning up and sizing your parts once they're formed. The process for obtaining your thin laminations that will be formed into a thicker piece remains the same. You can rip them out on the table saw or use the bandsaw. Stacked up, the laminations want to be the exact thickness of the part you want to make. It's close to impossible to change the thickness once you've created the part. The stack needs to be wider than the final dimension because it is going to skew a little as you clamp it. The form can be made from almost any materials you have around, but it needs to be rugged enough to take all the stress that it's going to be subjected to when you're clamping. It's a good idea to mark the center line of your clamping form, especially if it's not a true radius like this one is. It's also a good idea to mark your stack at the center line as well. You're going to want to start clamping in the center, working your way out evenly to both ends. I could have made this form half round instead of a semicircle as you see here, but this design makes clamping much easier, and I can position them where I need. You can create a solid form and drill holes where you need the clamps to be applied, but this minimizes the number of clamps that can be used. With the glue cured and clamps removed, now we can mill for thickness. You may not think of your jointer for doing curved work, but it's perfectly safe and easy to do. Set your fence back as far as possible to maximize the amount of contact that the curved part has on the flat table of the jointer. Maintain good contact between the fence and the outside of your part. You want to try and keep the point of contact directly over the cutter head. Take light passes until you get one good flat edge, and then off to the planer to set the final thickness. Now, while this particular part would actually pass underneath my 12-inch jointer just fine, note how I guide it through. The object is to try and keep the part under the cutter head as close to straight as possible to avoid tear out. The grain of the laminations may be going in different directions, so take very light passes and work your way down slowly. And check the width after each pass. You certainly don't want to take off too much material. There are other methods you could use to clean and true your lamination, but the joiner and the planer are the fastest and safest methods that I know of. Laminate bending over a single form is an excellent way for you to add bent wood parts to your woodworking projects. You'll find a whole range of skill building technique videos on my website at www.consultingwoodworker.com.